Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Aquavide Uskava, fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton. Sluncha!
Good evening, Whiskey Brothers, Whiskey Sisters, Whiskey Friends, and welcome to the episode 37 of the Canadian Whisky Journey's Whiskey Review. I'm Dolph. I'm going to be your host tonight, and I'm joined by Blair Phillips, the co-author to this book right here, The Definitive Guide to Canadian Distilleries. And Blair, what are we continuing our Canadian Whisky Journey with tonight, sir?
This is our official sequel right now. We are trying batch 2 of Moonshine Creek Distillery's Downriver whiskey.
And we reviewed batch 1. It was, I think, number 26. And I gotta say, it was a pretty good 11, 12 minutes we did on there. We had tons of information. And that's the bottle right there. You've got both side by side, I think, right?
Yeah, this is here we go. Batch 1 and batch 2. So you can see a little bit of a
color difference.
A little bit of differentiation, but that's just because they're not going to be adding color or anything additives. They want to keep it authentically Moonshine Creek.
Beautiful. And I noticed that you have less of the first one than the second, but I've done a pretty good job on this one with friends and family putting this down. So this only came out like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. I got it last week, and so that says something about how good it is and how much I want to share it. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've been talking to Jeremiah quite a bit today, getting some extra information, but do you want to just throw us kind of a background information about the distillery, where it's from? Jeremiah, his brother Joshua.
Yeah, it's a distillery just outside of Fredericton, kind of in New Brunswick, right near that famous covered bridge. You can see it right there.
Yeah,
yeah, it's all over the bottle. This is one of the nicest looking labels as well. I'm really happy that they're sticking with the name and the look of it. It's got a real old timey feel to it.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, they stuck to their guns on this one. It's 80% organic rye with 20% organic barley. They've distilled it, aged it in a combination of toasted virgin oak and charred new oak.
Yeah.
Aged it for, I think one of the whiskeys was about 4 years, the other is 3. They blend together.
4, Sorry, charred 4 and the previous, just about 4 and just over 3 for the other, but we can get that in a sec too. And
and the coolest thing about this whiskey, in my opinion, is this tradition in New Brunswick with these whiskey makers really getting inventive with how they proof their whiskey. Moonshine Creek, Jeremiah and his crew use some sap water or tree water, and that's produced through reverse osmosis through the maple syrup process to produce a really clean, flavorless water. And it's
it's cool,
pretty neat.
And I put some in there tonight. I'm trying some. You're trying batch 1 and 2 side by side. I'm trying batch 2, no water, and batch 2 with some of this waterproofing it down. It's kind of neat. And and reverse osmosis. I still thought for some reason I would taste a little bit of sugar, that it would just be a little bit sweeter somehow in my mind. It didn't work out. It's not.
No.
And we also have to say that the barley is unmalted, because I think that there's a difference in mouthfeel for me, and I'll talk about that in a second. So there's the boys, Jeremiah and Joshua, and a little bit of information. Here's the book about Grandpa there. If you want some more whiskey reading, you do that book. But I need these pictures. We had them up before, but I wanted to bring this back up right here. And you knew about their upgrades. Can you tell everyone out there what they're doing now? They've been closed for a month.
Yeah, not only do they make excellent whiskey, but they're also carpenters, I think, and they're expanding that room that we saw right there into a bigger experience for their guests when they visit. If I'm mistaken, they're gonna have a cocktail bar and a few other things.
And you know what? I said this last time, I'm sure, I would spend a lot of time there. I like this. I like the looks of it. I like the feel of it. So hopefully they kept that feel kind of right where it is. You know, and let's get back to the whiskey. And like I said, I was talking to Jeremiah today, and this one, batch 2, is chill filtered. And I was really surprised because I've always thought of myself being able to differentiate between a chill filtered, non-chill filtered whiskey. And I think I even made the claim online. Dr. Don was saying, "Do you think you could?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I could." I'm being really cocky, I know, but I thought I could. But when I got this last week, I tried it. And if you asked me if this was chill filtered last week, I would have said, no, it's not. But I found out it is chill filtered, and the chill filtering lightened the color. Can you show those 2 bottles again, just so we see the difference? He said it lightened the color and it reduced the tannins. And if memory serves,
number 1, number 2.
Yeah. And if memory serves, you had a little bit of tannic on it previously. You were talking about cocoa a little bit from our last. And what do you think this time? Has it gotten rid of that?
It's really polished it off and brought the spicy notes and the sweet notes together, and really pulled back those tannins. It's a good technique. If a distiller is using it properly, they can really use it to clean up the whiskey without doing harm to it. And it's kind of interesting that they decided to do that for this batch, because I think if you think about the first one, it was a little bit more texturally rich. It had a bit more of that young oak notes in it, and it was still perfectly fine, by the way. And it was a real that dark color. And I find that that makes it really well suited for cocktails, especially with that texture and the fact that you can build flavors on top and kind of layer out that bitterness or that cocoa note, so to speak, like that new oak feel. And with this one, I find that it's so much tighter and more integrated and balanced that I just prefer it just like this, maybe with a splash of water with a big chunk of ice or something like that.
Well, I should try the water too. It's more effervescent, actually. You get a little bit more on the nose with the water. And I'll talk about it in a second, but I'm going to stick with the mouthfeel because it's unmalted barley. And I think that's might be what messed me up with the mouthfeel, because it's still a creamy mouthfeel. Feels fantastic. You look at the legs, they're very thick, they're far apart, and they're really slow moving. So, yeah, I still would say if I got this blind, I'm sure I'd still say unchill filtered just because of the mouthfeel. But so that's my favorite part. It's one of the first things I notice in whiskey is the mouthfeel. It is. It's what makes me happiest. So, really happy about this. Let's go back to the barrels. It's 3 years in the charred. It's 4 years, no, just over 3 years in the toasted, almost 4 years in the charred. Maybe if Jeremiah is on, he can type this in, but I don't know the percentage of which to which I don't know which one was charred, if it was oak, not oak, if it was the barley or if it was the rye, and which one was charred.
Oh, it was a mash bill of the two.
It's a mash bill, so
yeah,
American style. Well,
not really
American style. I don't want to say that, but
no, I wouldn't say that.
When we think bourbon, we do, but
yeah, no, I think it's around 80-20, 80% rye, 20% malted barley. Or not, unmalted barley.
And they said that, but I still want to know how much of the charred compared to the toasted, if you know what I mean.
That might be a top secret.
It might be.
Kind of like asking Coca-Cola for the recipe. They're not gonna
give it to me. What do they care? They're not gonna lose any money. It's okay. And I was one of those kids that could tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi. You could too, right?
No, but
really?
Well, yeah, I guess I could. I don't know. I always found that kind of.
They always had the taste challenge, And if you pick the Pepsi, you got the better prize. I was always able to pick the Pepsi out of it. So I was a fat kid too. I was every one of these things at every mall that you had, I went there to pick it out. But anyways, let's get back to this, and I'm going to correct myself. I'm looking at my notes. Toasted is just about 4. Charred is just over 3. So we'll say that. 750 bottles. Unlike the very first one where they sold out, you said in a couple days, right? This one, they've been closed for a month, so everything's online. And that's where you buy it. You have to go to, and what's the name? It's .ca or is it .com? It's moonshinecreek.ca. I don't have it written here, but I'm pretty sure that's where I had to go. Moonshinecreek.ca. It's at. And just like the first one, $50, which makes me also still really, really happy.
Because, it's a small batch. And I'm assuming that this one they've pumped up the volume maybe by 2 or 3 casks to get the extra bottle count.
753, and I can't remember what it was on the first one. There's Jeremiah there, so he's going to give us some information. So yes, it's combined mash bill, he says, and then if we click through all this, click that. Okay. 3.1. No, we clicked it on 3.1 char toast and there we go. Moonshine Creek. And Jeremiah, if you want to say, you don't have to say because Blair said it's a trade secret. How much of each barrel you used? Was it like 3/4 toasted and 1/4 virgin, or some type of combination, or just say mind your business, Dolphin? I'll click on that too, and it'll be fun.
I think that's what he's saying. That it's the 3 chars to 1 toasted barrel.
Oh, 2. I saw 3.1, so I thought it was like a char, like 3 char, a 4 char. I thought it was like really specific 3.1. 3 to 1 char to toast. Thank you. And I'm a math teacher. I should be able to pick this out. Hilarious. Man. Okay. So let's buy it. You should buy it, and you should get there online to do it fairly soon. They have 400 and some left, but unlike the other one where they were open and they were bought very quickly, this one, they have a little bit left over after the first month that it's been out there. Oh, my wife wants me to say Blair is correct, just like Jeremiah said there.
I rarely hear that.
My wife never says I'm correct. I don't know why I'm saying you're correct. All right. Let's go taste. Nose. Last time I'm not going to do last time. You've got both. You can talk about both if you want. I'm going to talk about mine. With the water, it's sweeter. So the water brings out the sweetness.
It does definitely.
Reduces the oak a little bit because the first one I'm smelling more oak, less sweet. Now it's more sweet and less oak. It's done a complete reversal with water. That's odd. Yeah. And how about you with the first and second? Are you going back and forth, or are you just going to focus on number 2?
No, batch 1 maybe is a little sweeter on the nose. The fruits are a little bit more pronounced, but I find that this one, batch 2, builds on a little bit more complexities and getting it more centered, if you want to say. All
right. On the first one, you hit bananas a lot, you were saying. Do you still get kind of that banana bread?
It's a little bit lower, though. I find that there's a nuttiness that comes out, some brown sugar, and then that banana note is definitely in there, but it's a bit more integrated, I'd say. And you know what's cool? On the distillery's tasting notes, they talk about butter tarts with a good healthy splash of water and letting it sit for a while. That starts to really come out.
And that's this one right here.
Yeah.
And that works. The sweetness is butterscotch, a little bit caramelly. On the first one, I was going back and forth, if memory serves, between like rockets with the powdered sugar and the caramel, but it's definitely more butterscotch caramel now.
Yeah.
With the water. And we're not saying you have to have this stuff for the water, but if you're in the area, I think it's kind of cool to get that. It's neat. It really is. It's a good story too when you talk about it. And whenever you have people over, it's nice to have extra stories, extra things to talk about. And the palate, I don't. How about you? I'm not getting nuttiness on the palate.
No, it's. I found that that sweet banana note is still there for sure. The oak is dead center, and there's I really like the way the spiciness is working with that sweetness up front, and then slowly it dries out. It's exactly where you'd think it would be going.
And it's a little bit different on the palate, the dryness, where I think the first one was at the back of the throat, because I talked about it being dry back here. I think this time the dryness is a little bit on the sides, and I don't know if that's the oak dryness as opposed to the rye dryness, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's just pulling the sides of your mouth, but there's something else here. I just can't put my finger on it. It's almost like a lemony peel note on the end of the palate that goes into the finish.
Yeah, brightness in the front there somehow. So, yeah. I don't usually ask this about the whiskeys because I usually don't care about cocktails too much, but I know I should be. So I'm starting to think about my summer cocktails, because the only times I really like cocktails are in the summer. What's this go with, do you figure?
Something whiskey forward, like a Manhattan or something like that. Maybe a Sazerac.
I was gonna say my rusty nails, because I like the rusty nails, but maybe not. This has got a sweetness to it. I don't want to add any more sweetness up a Drambuie. I need something dry with this, I think. Right?
Yeah. Well, I would go for Manhattan for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah, enter this next year in the Canadian Whisky Awards, because
Vancouver.
Yeah, and then you can go to Victoria, and we'll meet you there at that point. So we'll have a drink, and hopefully you win a gold with this bad boy. I love it, and just want to show it again. Yeah, it's gone down really quick. It's a good thing, and like last time, you bought 2 bottles. I got 2 bottles of this time, which is nice, because I think this will be finished within another week and a half. Well, friends are picking stuff up, so you share the love, you share the whiskey. How about a finish before our last thoughts?
Same thing. I just get that citrus peel, some really nice oak structure, lumbers, and it just keeps going.
And still sweet to a bit of spice. It's not the regular spice you'd assume with 80% rye. It's not that. So the chill filtering is making a difference. I got to look into it a bit more. Anyways, enjoy it. It's fantastic. $50. Buy it online. Moonshinecreek.ca, and it's a deal. And actually, I don't even know if they're going to send it all over the place, but let's assume that they're sending that everywhere. Just order it.
I'm pretty sure that you're good to go.
Buy 2. Oh, here we go. Absolutely, that would be great. We've been nervous about entry our Why would you be nervous? Jeez, no, do it.
Do it.
What else could you do? Just save a bottle, and you submit it, and Blair will get another taste of it. Blind, he won't know. Or maybe you'll be able to pick it up.
It'd be tough, but yeah.
And I'm going to say, try it with water. I'm not usually try it with water guy, but I think you should. Because it's added a different dimension to it. I like it a lot. There. He'll send it everywhere he can, throughout Canada and anywhere else, and they'll get away with it, I'm sure, because people love them. Fantastic. Cheers, kind sir. Have a fantastic night, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you then.
Slide, cheers.